Friends, can we talk about America's newest pastime? No, it's not competitive vaping or suing your Roomba for emotional distress. It's arguing about language. Specifically, President Trump's executive order making English the official language of the United States. As of February 28, 2025, the land of the free and the home of the brave now has an official tongue. Now you might be thinking, wait, wasn't English already the official language? And that's a fair point. After all, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, even the instructions on a packet of Pop Rocks all in English. But legally speaking, the US has been a linguistic free-for-all. Until now. This executive order, like a rogue squirrel in a library, has been tossing around some heavy historical tomes. It overturns a 2000 directive by President Clinton that required some federal agencies to offer services in multiple languages. Think of it as a rollback to a simpler time when people just used hand gestures and overly loud voices to communicate across cultures. Of course, no good executive order is complete without a healthy dose of controversy. And boy, is this one serving up a heaping plate of hold my Bud Light and watch this. Now, the idea of an official language isn't exactly new. Around 180 out of 195 countries have one. But America, with its proud history of borrowing words, food, and fashion trends from other cultures, has always been a bit of a linguistic melting pot. From the indigenous languages spoken long before Europeans arrived to the waves of immigrants who brought their own tongues, America's linguistic tapestry has always been complex and colorful. But this executive order seems to be suggesting that maybe, just maybe, all those threads are making the national fabric a bit too busy. Proponents of the order argue that a common language promotes unity and efficiency. They say it'll streamline government operations, save money on translation services, and maybe even bridge cultural divides. It's a bold claim, like saying that forcing everyone to listen to Kenny G on repeat will usher in world peace. But critics aren't convinced. They see the order as a step towards marginalizing non-English speakers, creating barriers to accessing essential services, and basically telling anyone who doesn't speak English fluently that their voice doesn't matter as much. It's like offering everyone a slice of apple pie but then only giving forks to people who can correctly pronounce Worcestershire sauce. So, how will this executive order actually play out? Well, the details are about as clear as a glass of unfiltered tap water. The order vaguely states that federal agencies should promote English and use it for most official business, but it also gives them some wiggle room to continue offering services in other languages. Think of it as a linguistic game of hot potato. The responsibility is being tossed from the White House to individual federal agencies, with no clear guidelines on how hot the potato is or when they should drop it. This vagueness has led to confusion and concern. Will immigrants still be able to access important documents and services in their native languages? Will this impact education, healthcare, or even law enforcement? The answer, much like the ending of Inception, is frustratingly ambiguous. Supporters of the order argue that it's not about erasing other languages but rather about prioritizing English as a unifying force. They say it's about empowering immigrants to achieve the American dream by giving them the tools to succeed in an English-speaking society. However, critics argue that true empowerment comes from embracing diversity, not suppressing it. They point out that forcing people to abandon their native languages can lead to cultural alienation and a sense of otherness. It's like inviting someone to a potluck and then telling them they can only bring dishes that fit your narrow definition of what constitutes real food. Now let's talk numbers, folks. In 2019, nearly 68 million Americans, or roughly 22% of the population, spoke a language other than English at home. That's a lot of people who might be feeling a little anxious right now. It's like that awkward moment when you realize you're the only one at a party who didn't get the memo about the costume theme. Legal experts are already predicting a flurry of lawsuits challenging the constitutionality of the executive order. They argue that it violates the First Amendment rights of non-English speakers and could lead to discrimination. And let's be honest, America loves a good lawsuit more than a deep-fried Oreo at a state fair. The political implications of this executive order are about as subtle as a foghorn in a library. It's a move that has energized Trump's base while alienating many others. It's a divisive issue that taps into deeper anxieties about national identity, immigration, and what it means to be American in the 21st century. In conclusion, the debate over English as the official language is far from over. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, But one thing's for sure, it's got everyone talking, or at least everyone who speaks English.